the hiker who never came down. On the slopes of Mount Arwa, the fog never truly disappears, not even at noon. Villagers believe the mountain is haunted by the spirits of hikers who vanished and were never found again. One night, 4 friends, Arman, Bhima, Sari, and Dika, decided to challenge the myth. They planned to record their journey to the summit for their YouTube channel. "If we make it to the top, our channel will blow up," Arman said, turning on his camera. The climb started smoothly, but as the sun sank behind the trees, a thick fog rolled in. The air grew cold, and a 5th set of footsteps echoed behind them. "Who's back there?" Sari whispered. No one answered, but fresh footprints appeared between theirs. That night, they camped on a small clearing. While everyone slept, Dika heard a voice outside, Arman's voice. "Dick, help me." I fell. He rushed out of the tent, but when he turned around, Arman was still asleep inside. The voice continued, drifting deeper into the mist. By morning, Dika was gone. They searched for him, but only found footprints leading toward a cliff. A camera hanging from a nearby tree captured something terrifying. Dika walking into the fog, following a dark, faceless figure. One by one, they vanished, first Bhima, then Sari. Arman was the only one who made it back to the village, trembling and pale. But when the villagers saw him, they froze in fear. Arman's eyes were empty, and behind him in the fog, 3 shadowy figures were smiling. A week later, the rescue team found Arman's camera on the mountain trail. In the final footage, 4 hikers were seen walking down together, even though only Arman had ever returned alive. A week after Arman's return, the police received the footage from his broken camera. The first few clips looked normal, laughter, steep trails, foggy landscapes. But near the end, the camera showed something impossible. In one scene, Dika was recording himself, smiling. Behind him, a pale hand reached out from the fog, then vanished. When the video glitched, Dika's smile froze, and another face appeared beside him. A face that looked exactly like him, but with hollow eyes. Investigators said it was just a lighting effect, but the rescue team who found the camera swore they saw 4 people standing in the mist, even though they were alone. That night, Arman started receiving messages on his phone. Unknown numbers. Each message said the same thing. "We're still up here. Come back." He deleted them, but the next morning, he woke up to muddy footprints inside his room, leading straight to his bed. At the end of the trail, there was a small note, written in his own handwriting. "You never came down, Arman." The next day, the villagers heard someone screaming near the mountain trail. They found a camera lying on the ground, still recording. And for a few seconds before the fog swallowed it, a voice whispered, 5 hikers went up the mountain. And now 5 will stay forever. 2 weeks after Arman disappeared again, rescue teams climbed Mount Arwa one last time. They followed the same trail where his group had vanished. The fog was thicker than ever, and their radios began to fail. At the old campsite, they found 4 tents, perfectly standing. Inside one of them was fresh food, still warm, but no one had been up there for days. A rescue member named Raka picked up a camera from the ground. When he played it back, the footage showed Arman and his friends sitting around a fire, smiling, laughing, as if they were alive. But then, one by one, their faces turned toward the lens. Their smiles froze. Their eyes turned black, and all of them whispered the same words. "Don't go down. Stay with us." Raka dropped the camera and ran. But when he reached the base of the mountain, the villagers stared at him in shock. His clothes were torn, his eyes were blank, and behind him, 4 shadows stood in the mist. That night, the mountain road collapsed during a storm, cutting off the trail forever. No one has dared to climb Mount Arwa since. But sometimes when the fog rolls down to the village, people still hear footsteps and laughter from 5 hikers who never came down. Months passed after the mountain was closed. The fog no longer reached the village until one cold evening, a woman named Lena, a journalist, arrived to investigate the disappearances. She wanted to uncover the truth behind the legend of Mount Arwa. Villagers warned her not to stay after dark, but she didn't believe in ghosts. That night, she rented an empty cabin near the old trail. While reviewing Armand's last footage, the lights flickered. For a second, she saw something in the reflection of her laptop screen, 5 silhouettes standing behind her. When she turned around, the room was empty. Only her phone began to ring. An unknown number. She answered and heard heavy breathing. Then Armand's voice, "You shouldn't have come here." The next morning, hikers found her camera outside the cabin. The final clip showed Lena walking into the fog, calling out names. "Armand? Dika? Sorry?" Then, faintly, the fog answered back, "We've been waiting." The camera fell. A hand reached toward the lens and pulled it into the darkness. Now, villagers say they sometimes see a sixth shadow on the mountain, a woman holding a camera. Years ago, long before hikers ever set foot on Mount Arwa, the mountain was a burial ground. Not for people, but for those who vanished in the fog. The villagers said the mountain kept souls that died lost, feeding on their memories. No one believed the legend until Lena's footage was recovered. It was found deep in the forest, perfectly dry, still recording. In it, Lena spoke in a trembling voice. "The fog, it's not weather. It's alive." Behind her, shadows moved like smoke, faces forming. Disappearing, whispering names. She turned the camera toward an old stone shrine, half buried in mud. Carvings on the stone read, "Those who enter shall never leave." Their souls become the mountain. The footage ended abruptly, with a scream, then silence. After that, the government sealed off Mount Arwa completely. But even now, every full moon, the villagers hear faint laughter and see flashlights glowing deep inside the fog. 5, sometimes 6 lights, and those who dare to listen closely say they can still hear a woman's voice whispering through the wind. "You can climb, but you'll never come down." 10 years after the mountain was sealed, a government team was sent to reopen Mount Arwa. Officially, they said it was to check for environmental hazards, but the locals knew the truth. The team was searching for Lena's missing footage. The group consisted of 4 people: Captain Rafi, Dr. Nisa, Adit, and Tomo, a young cameraman who documented everything. As they climbed, the fog returned, thick, cold, and strangely silent. The radio signals failed within minutes. When night came, they set up camp near the old stone shrine Lena had found. Dr. Nisa discovered symbols carved deeper into the rock, faces, eyes, and strange writing. She whispered, "This wasn't made by humans." Tomo's camera started recording on its own. The screen flickered, showing movement in the fog. 5 figures. No, 6. Standing, watching. Suddenly, one of the radios crackled with a broken voice. "Tomo, turn, back." It was Lena's voice. Tomo froze. "Did you hear that?" But the others were staring behind him, their eyes wide in horror. A pale hand reached out from the fog and touched his shoulder. The camera fell. The last thing it recorded was Captain Rafi screaming, "They're not gone." They never left. Then static. 2 days later, the rescue team found the campsite. Empty. The tents still warm. The camera still recording, showing 7 shadows walking deeper into the mist. Vanished on Mount Arwa. The mountain was still sealed, fenced off, patrolled, forgotten by most. But when the mist returned to the nearby villages, the people knew something had awakened again. At night, the fog crept down the slopes, swallowing entire roads. Livestock disappeared. People started hearing voices outside their windows, whispering names of those who had been lost years ago. Among them was Lena's name. Then one night, a storm hit. Lightning struck the government barrier around Mount Arwa, and the sensors went offline. By morning, the gate was open from the inside. The government sent another team, this time led by Colonel Surya, a man who didn't believe in ghosts. He was accompanied by Dr. Nisa's sister, Maya, who wanted to know what had happened to her sibling. Drones were sent ahead to scout the area. The footage came back distorted, but in one frame, they saw 7 figures standing at the shrine, all wearing expedition uniforms, all motionless. The team entered the fog. Radio contact lasted 5 minutes, then silence. The live drone feed showed only thick mist until something moved. A face leaned into the camera, half decayed, half smiling. It was Tomo. His eyes were black, his lips cracked, but he whispered clearly, "Why did you come back?" The feed cut to static. Hours later, the base received a signal, an audio transmission repeating the same words, over and over. The mountain remembers. By dawn, the fog had spread beyond the mountain, rolling into nearby towns. Those who breathed it began to see shapes moving in their homes, reflections watching them from mirrors and water. And on the morning news, a strange video surfaced online, grainy footage from a helmet camera, showing Colonel Surya's team walking into the mist. At the end of the clip, one line appeared on screen. Weeks passed. The fog no longer stayed near Mount Arwa. It spread across the valley, swallowing villages, forests, even parts of the nearby city. The government declared a state of emergency. But every rescue team sent into the mist never returned. Only one man came back. A park ranger named Ilham, found wandering near the forest edge, covered in ash. When questioned, he spoke slowly, his voice hollow. "The mountain is awake, and it's breathing." Scientists monitoring the area discovered something terrifying. The mist wasn't just fog. It contained microscopic organic spores, moving like living veins through the air. Whatever was inside the mountain was alive and spreading. That night, Ilham disappeared from the quarantine facility. Security footage showed him standing by the window, whispering to someone unseen. In the reflection of the glass, Lena smiling faintly. Then the screen went black. Days later, satellite images captured Mount Arwa collapsing inward, forming a massive crater glowing red from below. And from that crater, a pulse of mist erupted, a wave that blanketed everything within 50 kilometers. Radio stations went silent. Internet signals died, but one final transmission was recorded by an old, analog tower before the power failed. A woman's voice, faint and distorted. "To whoever hears this, we are all part of it now." The mountain was never a place. It was a door. After that, Mount Arwa vanished from all maps. The area became a permanent cloud, visible even from space. A swirling gray mass shaped like a giant eye staring upward. No one dares to approach. But on quiet nights, people near the border say they can still hear a voice in the fog, a soft whisper calling their names. One by one,